San Juan Regional Medical Center is your community hospital, committed to making life better for the communities we are privileged to serve. In fact, better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care. What matters most to our patients matters most to us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services so you can get the quality care you need right here at home. San Juan Regional Medical Center, celebrating life better here since 1910. Freedom Day sparkles with Farmington's own Chevelle Shepherd this year. Enjoy this free outdoor concert with the Season 15 winner of The Voice, Saturday, July 2nd at the Farmington Civic Center Plaza. Bring your favorite chair or blanket and enjoy the festivities from 5 to 9 p.m., with Chevelle taking the stage at 7. This family-friendly fun is made possible by the City of Farmington. Find out more at farmingtonnm.org or call 505-326-7602. Eleven minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, the 29th day of June, 2022. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and thank you for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM, of course, over the air here in San Juan County, New Mexico. Streaming everywhere else on the planet from our website at ksje.com, and returning soon to the airwaves in Durango at 103.3 FM. So be patient with us just a bit longer, fans in Durango. We'll be back with you over the air soon. Also, we want to welcome our viewers who are watching us on the visual radio channels. This video is streaming out live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. So we're glad that you are with us this morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Coming up this morning, my conversation with Farmington Schools Superintendent Dr. Eugene Schmidt. We'll be finding out what he has been up to since we last spoke about a month ago. He has stayed very busy, and we'll talk more about that. And he'll be joining us from a remote location, and we'll explain why he is there as well. That's all coming up this morning in the next few moments right here on KSJE. And then, of course, we'll get another lesson about life in the sandbox from Ron Price. We are pulling some episodes out of the archive, giving Ron the summer off, but still some good words of advice that we'll share with you today at 8:50 a.m. right here on KSJE. Mick S. is going to be here, Roving with the Arts, our classical music program, coming up next hour, beginning at 9:06. And this morning, Nick is featuring music from the Ukrainian composer Nikolai Kapustin. That's coming up today at 9:06 on KSJE, which will take us to 10:30, and right on Four Corners, our local and regional author program with Tracy Hales-Vass. Today, Tracy is speaking with Cortez author Bethany Turner about her latest book called The Do-Over. You can hear that conversation coming up this morning at 10:30 right here on KSJE on Right on Four Corners. Don't forget, we also invite you to connect with us on our Instagram page, in addition to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. And if you're a podcast person, you can subscribe for free to KSJE Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe catch up on a program that you may have missed. Outside our studios here at San Juan College this morning, it is a sunny day so far, 66 degrees at the moment, and we're expecting a partly sunny day today with the high reaching 91 degrees in Farmington this afternoon, and then a chance of showers to develop overnight tonight, maybe a 40% chance with a low of 64 degrees, and more chances for rain than back in the weather pattern for the next several days, as you can see. Partly sunny skies with a chance of showers tomorrow, 87 on Thursday, 86 on Friday, 85 for Saturday and Sunday, and overnight lows in the mid to lower 60s. Well, let me introduce my guest who is here with me this morning remotely, and he'll explain where he is and why. Dr. Eugene Schmidt is back with us, of course, the Superintendent of Schools for the Farmington School District. Dr. Schmidt, good to see you as always, and good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to the KSJE listening audience throughout the Four Corners. And I'm pleased to share, Scott, that technology is a marvel.
Right.
That I'm literally streaming in this morning from Atlanta, Georgia. So let me do a sound check. Is everything fine from your end?
We see you and we hear you, Dr. Schmidt. There may be a bit of a delay, but I think that's the limits of the technology at the moment. So we're all good.
Okay, well, let me share how proud I am to be wrapping up 7 years as superintendent for the Farmington Municipal Schools. And I especially want to thank you, Scott, for giving me a chance to just think and reflect back over these 7 years, and a lot of remarkable stories. And one doesn't begin a story without thanking all of the teachers, the school leaders, parents, the community, certainly my school board, and especially the students who have come to school ready to work every day. So it's just been a marvel, not only in what can be accomplished when a determined community works closely with the public schools, but also when you set high expectations, students and staff, parents work to achieve those visions that we sent for the future. So I reflected a lot, Scott, and it's hard just to pick and choose a couple of things when these 7 years we have seen academic accomplishments by students and staff. We've seen artistic accomplishments. You talked about Chevelle Shepherd, for example, in your early opening, but also all of the athletic accomplishments. So way too many names and accolades to share, but do know that I am very proud to have been part of the Farmington story, and officially tomorrow will be my last day. So I'm in Atlanta, and I'm celebrating the Farmington story as I was given a chance to be part of a presentation that maybe we'll show that picture in a short while. But I just wanted to begin by thanking all of those people who invited Wendy and I to the community and have allowed us to be part of something so amazing as Farmington.
Well, Dr. Schmidt, I'm sure the feeling is more than mutual from the community back to you and your wife, Wendy, for the time that you've spent here in Farmington. And I did want to point out, too, that it's not just the years you spent here in Farmington, but you had some other years in New Mexico, in Los Alamos before that, and for a total of, I think, 13 years in New Mexico serving as a superintendent of schools, correct?
Yes, and I thank you for that opportunity. I actually came to New Mexico 13 years ago and began my New Mexico stay with 6 really wonderful years in Los Alamos as well. And 7 years ago, 2015, I was invited to Farmington, and it has just been a wonderful opportunity, which makes my stay in Atlanta these couple of days especially exciting, because we get to try and explain to the nation how is it that Farmington continues to make academic gains, improve graduation rates, as we'll talk a little bit about later in this morning show. But those things are made possible because people are determined. Our community has grit.
Very true, Dr. Schmidt. We've lost the signal there from Atlanta for just a moment. We'll hope to get him back in just a second. But I wanted to point out this is a photo from just a few weeks ago from the New Mexico School Boards Association honoring Dr. Schmidt for his 13 years of service to New Mexico school districts as he wraps up his tenure here in Farmington tomorrow. And he is working up until the very last day by traveling on behalf of the school district and being in Atlanta to talk to folks there about the successes that he has had here in Farmington. And he'll be sharing with us in just a moment. But we seem to have lost the signal from Atlanta from Dr. Schmidt, so we may need to take a break as we work to get that back. But let me try a couple of things here before we do that at this end. But let's see if we can get Dr. Schmidt back remotely from his site in Atlanta, Georgia, where he is able to connect with us this morning. So let's see if that's going to work before we take a break. But he is not there, but I think he is now calling in on the phone. Dr. Schmidt, are you on the phone now with me?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for doing that. our technology has failed us for a moment, but we'll go to the phone for the rest of the program. That's perfectly fine. I was just telling the audience, and I was showing another photo that I found of you being honored by the New Mexico School Boards Association for your total of 13 years of serving school districts in New Mexico, and we want to add our congratulations to you for that as well.
And I thank you, Scott. That was a lovely moment in time to stand in front of better than 600 or 700 of my school board peers, but also superintendents. It was a very special moment, and I've actually taken that plaque and placed it on the mantle on the fireplace in our new home in the state of Washington. So again, my accomplishments are only possible because of a determined and willing community that sees public education as a great opportunity to raise their children. And for Farmington, Scott, as you're aware, it's a community that has valued public education for more than 120 years. Think about that. More than 120 years, this community has believed in the opportunity that knowledge is power, and that knowledge will bring great things to not only the state of New Mexico, but the world, because our kids go everywhere. It's always amazes me. You'll talk to kids in the graduation line, and we did a survey some years ago, and 148 kids were going to different colleges around the nation, and that's a compliment to a community in rural New Mexico that can send kids anywhere, and they are successful not only in college and career, but in life.
Very, very true, Dr. Schmidt. But again, I have to go back to I think your leadership and some of the ideas that you brought to Farmington schools with you, and how those have been implemented with the support certainly of your teachers and your staff and your school boards and all the other folks behind it. But again, as you pointed out, some of the work that's been done here at Farmington has gotten some national attention, which is what has brought you to Atlanta, Georgia, I think, right, to talk a little bit about some of the techniques and the strategies behind these decisions, and share those with other school districts across the country who I'm sure are trying to figure out just how you have achieved the success with student achievement and learning that you've done here, and all that's backed up with data as well. So I think it's certainly gotten Farmington a positive reputation in the education world.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because this is a data and statistics conference, and so it was my pleasure to represent New Mexico and certainly Farmington in telling the story about how Farmington has taken data and embraced it as an opportunity to understand how students learn, what they learn, and how they demonstrate that learning. And I'm very proud of our teachers. If parents were to walk in the school, staff rooms are littered with data walls of student performance, and how can we lift students from maybe it's the penguins to the running rabbit group, but we really have focused on trying to get to know every kid academically, and then develop those timely and targeted interventions. And Scott, it's an interesting challenge, late in my career when none of us were trained in how to work in a COVID remote world, and yet Farmington kids continue to make progress. And we were we talked about this in the show a couple of months ago, but one of the few school districts in New Mexico whose graduation rates went up during a COVID time. So we're excited that there are a lot of systems, and that's what I was trying to explain, is the power of building those structures and systems where teachers use their best skills and crafts. The district supports them. We have school leaders who make a regular practice of visiting classrooms. So it is through systems, and if the systems are in place and they work, student achievement follows. So let me jump, with permission, Scott, into a few of the slides, because for our non-viewing audience, I put together a couple of reflections. So I'm going to tease myself a little bit, Scott, and these pictures are taken from over the course of the last 7 years, and I look at some of these pictures, and I looked younger 7 years ago.
Didn't we all?
And so I will say that's, those gray hairs are well earned. That probably some of my later pictures will show. But if Scott, you can flick to the one that talks about the family leadership and the Governor Martinez. If you'll pick to that slide, I'll talk a little bit about what are some of the things we tried to do. And one of the things that we've tried to do is honor cultures and families. And I've always been very proud of the diversity of New Mexico. Our community knows that we have significant populations of Native American students, Hispanic, Caucasian. We speak 19 languages. And so we've really tried to focus on welcoming families into the school. And this could include a whole new thought behind parent conferences. We've had a lot of success introducing something called academic parent-teacher nights, where we meet with parents as a whole class rather than the traditional one-to-one parent conference. And so that embracement and welcoming of families, I think, has been really well received in our community. And even during the COVID remote world, parents stayed engaged with their kids. And so I wanted to, begin this radio show just by thanking the parents, because parents were those first teachers for the better part of 16 months. And they helped us bridge that time from COVID to back in person. So I just wanted to thank all my parents. And then Scott, I wanted to thank our community partners. We have had a great collegial relationship with our Four Corners school districts, and especially San Juan College. In 2015, the thought of a San Juan early college high school is just something on a piece of paper and conversations that you see. People would see Superintendent Carpenter and Mizell and Governor Martinez, certainly President Tony Pendergrass is in the picture. But we're celebrating the announcement of the opening of San Juan College High School. It's been my privilege to have seen 3 graduations already from that group. And so it's an exciting time to have taken something that was a conversational vision, put it on a piece of paper, and then open a brand new school that has very rapidly become one of New Mexico's finest. But those things aren't possible without having great school district neighbors. And I'll talk about the importance of neighbors towards the end of the show, but how proud I am of a Four Corners community that values the importance of education and shares kids to make that possible.
Very, very much. And Dr. Schmidt, I wanted to point out, too, as I always like to, is I think this is one of the only early college high schools in the country, maybe that's changed since it opened, but that involves multiple school districts all sending students to the one early college high school. I think in other areas where this is in place, it's being put together and supported by just one school district. But here in San Juan County, as you described, of course, Farmington is the manager of the school, but it's only with the help of and cooperation with the other 3 school districts that all 4 are able to offer this to their students. And I always like to point that out because I think that's another great example of the cooperation and working together to make this possible.
Yeah, it really is an exemplary national model that would be fun to talk about. I am aware of at least one other. After we opened our school, I got a call from the Richland School District in the state of Washington, where I have now moved to the state of Washington, but they have what they call the Tri-Cities, Pasco, Kennewick, and Richland, and they have and are exploring how do you share kids. Their model is a little different than ours in that our kids enroll in Farmington, and my understanding is up in the Northwest, they share teachers with, Columbia Community College. And so there's a model that's kind of like ours, but ours, as you say, is unique and I think very special because of the willingness of our neighbors to allow kids to go to school. And Scott, we could probably talk a little bit about the success of the kids are amazing, and the kids go all over the world. But one of the things for Farmington and the Four Corners that I'm very proud of is how many of the graduates are accepted into the University of New Mexico in what they call the bachelor's degree program and MD. So literally every year, a number of Farmington and especially San Juan College high school kids are accepted into a medical program as an undergraduate, and that fast forward kids into life success, and heaven knows how many doctors and nurses we need, but a lot of that now is coming through San Juan College High School as well as our other comprehensive high schools. But it's an amazing story that becomes the jump off place for a lot of kids' futures.
That's right, and they're smart too. If I can add that, they have really achieved a lot. And Dr. Schmidt, I have a confession to make to you, and I apologize, but I don't have the slides that you're referring to share. So unfortunately, I don't think I ever got those this week. But as you describe these moments in your career, certainly we can look back on those and certainly appreciate all the times that you have certainly talked about those on this program and shared them with me. But I do apologize. For some reason, I did not get maybe those to show you on the program this morning. So my apologies.
Okay, so what I'll do is I will visualize for the audience what I'm seeing in the reflections that I've sent. And
thank you.
And so the next moment of reflection is the importance of the Farmington model of instruction. And I will share that this is some great work that predates my arrival to Farmington, certainly the work of Janelle Ryan, Tom Sullivan, whose superintendencies predate me, but a lot of other good people, the Val Tullys, the Janet Hunters, the people who years ago did a lot of good thinking, Phil Valdez. A lot of great thinking went into the design of what become known as the Farmington model of instruction, that we believe if teachers are doing these things, if school leaders are doing these things, if parents are doing, if kids are doing, then that little wheel or circle leads to great student academic achievement. So the power of, I think, Farmington is in the systems that they create, and that Farmington model of instruction that I came to embrace, know, and understand has really made a difference in the learning and how we think about how kids learn. So as I reflect, I want to thank all of those people whose stories come before me in designing a system that just really works. And it's been fun talking about the Farmington model of instruction as I go around the country. And just say, again, if you understand, and I know that more recently Nicole Lamson, certainly Ann Deal, have spent a lot of time working with Phil Warwick. You know, we hear a lot about high reliability schools, and if memory serves, just this last week, the school district had a 3-day conference talking about what are those effective teaching skills. And so in that Farmington model of instruction, I won't get too wonky with the people, Scott, but just in the Farmington model, if you have a clear vision and commit to that vision of what good teaching and school leadership looks like, students are going to be successful. So I'll just kind of pause for a second and let you have a follow-up question. If not, I'm going to go on and talk about some of the other joyful moments in Farmington.
No, I think you should keep going, Dr. Schmidt, and we're right there with you. And certainly, again, it's a great review of a wonderful career and your leadership. And again, I think on behalf of the community, we all appreciate what you have brought to Farmington from the community standpoint, from the student standpoint, and parent standpoint during your tenure here at Farmington School. So please continue.
So thank you, and I will share that, again, being part of a community is bigger than just being the superintendent of a school, but I I wanted to say, give a shout out to Catherine Abeda and United Way. United Way has been a great partner, and through their work, and I had a chance, I'm sure as you've had a chance in the past, to serve as a campaign chair. Wendy and I were, I want to say, campaign chairs for United Way back about 2017 or 18, but just the chance to be part of a community, the part of a community through the different service clubs, the Kiwanis, the Rotaries, the Chambers, all of those things have been very special as the community has allowed us to be a part of the story. And, somehow, Scott, about 2018, that led to the opportunity for Wendy and I to serve as the Grand Marshal of the Farmington Christmas Parade. And certainly we will go back celebrating the appreciation from the community for the things that we have tried to do.
And I think that is a great thing, Dr. Schmidt. And we just have about 5 minutes or so left this morning. So I again just wanted to thank you for all the time that you have spent with me. And I know there's a few more things that you wanted to mention. And here you are. And I have to point this out, Dr. Schmidt. Here you are, a day before your final day with Farmington Schools, and you're still putting in a full day and working and traveling on behalf of the school district to spread the word about the work that you've done here at Farmington Schools.
Yes, and so again, just reflected in 5 of the 7 years that I've been in town were the highest graduation rates in decades. And again, that is, I just want to express my appreciation to all students. Sometimes school is a struggle, and you have to have grit and determination. And for all those students who are hitting the graduation lines, whether it be 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years, I want to honor all those kids who just were doggedly determined, in their pursuit of high school diploma. The world has a place for you, and it's going to be an exciting time. I also wanted to share my appreciation for school leaders. I was sharing with the community here in Atlanta that in these last couple of years, Principal Young from Northeast led her school to a national Title I award. Principal Maestas and Principal Schroeder from Ladera and Mesa Verde were recipients of National Blue Ribbon Awards. And, these are special kinds of things. Going back to all of my principal leaders, there was a time in 2018, 2019 when 14 of our schools were either A or B on what the public education called the New Mexico Straight A Express. And it's a celebration of school teacher skills and craft and school building leaders that, literally go from C's within 3 years, you're at A's and B's, and we just outperformed New Mexico schools, so much so that at that time Secretary of Education Ruskowski came to honor our teachers by special banners, and you can still see many of those hanging from the sides of schools across the district. But it just tells us that great leadership and great skills in the classroom lead to success. And Scott, I'll kind of go into the lightning round here very quickly. I wanted to share an appreciation for all of our state legislative groups. Senator Neville, certainly Senator Scherer, Representative Montoya. We had Paul Bandy before. We had Anthony Allison now, and just a lot of our local representatives really have come to care about public education. So I wanted to just say thank you to our state representatives that these are citizen legislators, Scott. They don't get paid. But these people, with religious fervency, head to Santa Fe every year to work to get our schools' budgets. And isn't it exciting that this last year we had $10,000 raises for our teachers, 7% raises for our staff. That wouldn't happen, Scott, unless our state legislatures believed in what we're trying to do, the mission of public education. So I I just can't leave the state without saying that these people, care about us, and so I will share with them. Let me share very briefly my appreciation for a school board that believes in public education. Our board twice in 7 years, Scott, was the Large School New Mexico Board of the Year, and it's an accolade well deserved, just because they have allowed our school leadership to have vision, to experiment with school design. We've built, with the help of our community taxpayer dollars, we've built a new Farmington High School and Formosa Middle School and Northeast Elementary. We've done some extensive remodeling across the district, like at Country Club and McKinley. It takes a community that believes and votes with their pocketbook to make our schools better. So I can't leave without thanking our community for supporting public education, but the school board for allowing us to bring ideas and celebrate what could be done. And so I'll briefly end just by saying that there's a lot of other thank yous. We've had some great partners. The public education department, with regularity has come to visit our schools as they try to understand what is going on. And it just makes me feel good that I've had this small opportunity to help build on the legacy of my predecessors, certainly Janelle Ryan and Tom Sullivan. And I have great excitement, Scott, for Superintendent Deal, as he moves from acting superintendent to officially superintendent, this very week. It's an exciting time, and Farmingtonians can look forward to just amazing things to come because it just keeps getting better.
Well, there you go, Dr. Schmidt. And I want to say you should thank, again, I know you have, your staff, because they have gotten me, during our conversation, some of the photos that you were referring to. We've been able to kind of share those as you've been talking this morning through this final part of our final official visit together. I don't think it'll be the last, and I hope it's not. But let me just add to you, thank you for your 13 years in New Mexico and your time here in Farmington, your commitment to coming on the air with me every month. I don't think we've missed a month really, because there was always things to talk about with the work at Farmington schools and the accomplishments of your students and your staff, as you've mentioned. And we've been able to kind of chronicle that throughout your tenure here, thanks to your willingness to get up early and join me here in the studio, or join me on Zoom during the pandemic, or wherever you were traveling, whatever the case might be. So I really appreciate your commitment to that, and the ability and the effort to share with the community all the things that you and the schools have been involved with. I think that's really important in public education, to have leaders that will talk to the community and let them know what's going on and be transparent about what's happening at schools where their children or their children's children or friends' children may be attending. So that's important to mention, I think.
Yes, and I will share that I've enjoyed our 7 years because as I reflected and was collecting pictures, I came across a picture of you in the old studio and you in the new studio. So right. even as the school district has grown, so has Scott Michlin and KSJE Radio, as you've moved into, from literally an audio to a visual, virtual radio program. So it's exciting watching you grow over these last 7 years.
Well, I appreciate that, Dr. Schmidt. And again, we wouldn't be able to do it, as the school district wouldn't be able to do some of the things it has been able to do without the support of the community. And we're ever so grateful for that. And I'm glad that we have grown in those ways. I may have grown a bit wider too over the years, but I'm glad you didn't show a picture of that. So thank you for that at least.
Okay, so let me close, Scott, by saying that I'm not, my Four Corners, my New Mexico story is not over. That on Friday, I will begin working part-time with a California company called Connect Ed that is working with Farmington, Central Consolidated, Bloomington, or Bloomfield, Aztec, Cuba, and Gallup on career and technical education pathways. And so I will get to return to New Mexico at least twice before the year is over in short visits as I move from a superintendent to a consulting role.
Very good. Well, congratulations on that, Dr. Schmidt. And I must tell you, I'm not surprised that you're going to keep working in some capacity. The word retirement doesn't appear to be in your vocabulary. So glad to hear you'll still have a connection to New Mexico.
So, and again, I hope that we'll have a conversation about careers and pathways and things at some point in the future, maybe a Monday call-in or something. But with that, I'm going to let you go and head back downstairs to the conference and continue to talk up the Farmington story.
There you go. Dr. Eugene Schmidt, I, again, appreciate you and our friendship over the years, and thank you very much, and safe travels back when the conference is over. Thank you very much.
Signing off.
All right. That's Dr. Eugene Schmidt, the superintendent of schools with the Farmington School District, for one more day, joining me this morning here on KSJE. KSJE is supported by the San Juan County Historical Society, presenting the film Rambo of the Caracas Mesa, A History of Jicarilla Mustangs, with a premiere on Saturday, July 16th at 6:30 p.m. at the Farmington Civic Center, followed by a gala with the stars. Tickets are $18 and $25. Find out more at fmtn.org/shows. The San Juan County Historical Society. KSJE is supported by the Alzheimer's Association, New Mexico Chapter, with a local office in Farmington, providing free services and resources to help those living with dementia and their families, including their 24/7 helpline, 1-800-272-3900. The Alzheimer's Association, New Mexico Chapter, 1-800-272-3900. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week.
Hello again, this is Evan Chi with Week 4 Coaching Tips over the Radio. For Week 4, we will be discussing resources. There are many resources available on our college campus, both physically and online. Be sure to know these valuable resources. If you are unsure of their availability, do an online research using your college website. If you cannot find the resources on your own, be sure to contact the Student Achievement Center in room 1604. Resources can be found in the following areas: Library Services, Native American Center, Herencia Latina Center, Student Achievement Center, Career Center, Trio Center, Tutoring Center, Veteran Center, Financial Aid Office, Advising and Counseling Center, Disability Services, Business Office, Dean of Students, and much more.
The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College.